Today is a day to celebrate a princess, a general, and a true icon. We've seen social media flooded all day with people celebrating the life of Carrie Fisher on what would have been her 64th birthday. So we want to offer you some fun ways you can keep the party going and celebrate our princess on the daily. Arzu has developed this top 5 ways to honor Carrie Fisher, and I'm going to bring you up on screen. Arzu, number 1, or your number 5, so the bottom of the list. Number 5, what's the best way we can celebrate Princess Leia?
Okay, so the first way on my list is obviously you can watch the original trilogy again. Plain and simple. Disney Plus, as we've been talking about, has all of them, despite the edits. Please watch the original trilogy. That is the easiest way I can think of to celebrate Carrie Fisher today.
And Arzu, real quick, what is it about the original trilogy that would be such a great way to celebrate Carrie Fisher? Is it just because that she was able to be on screen as a strong heroine and show that the girl can be the smart one in the group?
She's the smart one in the group. She is a strong heroine. She's got her vulnerabilities, which is always very important in a character. It's the most complete Leia arc is the original. So that's why I recommend those specific, because the focus is at least 50% on her, and she's got her complete arc. So that's why I said the original trilogy.
And Pete, you witnessed the original trilogy in theaters. So, I mean, would you agree that, and that wasn't a slam? Like that's,
no, I am proud of that.
You should be.
Yes.
You have a daughter, you have a wife. What is Leia, when you think about that character, that original trilogy Leia, what does that character mean as a father?
Well, it's funny. I'm in a kind of unique generation. I'll be very careful not to talk too long about this because I could go for days about it. But what's interesting is Carrie Fisher as Princess Leia was really one of the, in a time of 70s films where it was, the woman was the damsel in distress. She was just, all she was pretty. And in this case, she was not only beautiful, she was strong, she was brave, she was smart. And as a 7-year-old boy watching it, it's really important to me now that I look back, because it never occurred to me that, oh, she should have been a damsel in distress. No, it was never that. She was always, it was just, she was that great character, and she has probably inspired little girls in ways that I will of course never understand, but just she was such a powerful character and played such an influence, and so important to not just Star Wars but to women all around.
And that's how you want your daughter to grow up. You want her to be strong, independent, thoughtful for herself, not be dependent on other people. It's because you're a great dad and you like Star Wars. No other dads would be like, you should be like Princess Leia, and all they did was watch Gone with the Wind. Arzu, number 4 on the list. What is the number 4 way that we can celebrate?
Number 4 is to rock some space buns, like I am doing right now. If you're watching us on YouTube, I've got my hair in space buns.
How do you do that?
Well, okay, I've cheated a little bit. So I twisted my hair, and then I have these really big hair clips that sort of make it look bulkier than it actually is.
See, that's what I was going to do, but I wasn't able to. My hair wasn't agreeing.
It's too thick. Couldn't clip it all up.
Yeah, it was hard to get all this together. You know what I mean?
Is it tough to do when your hair is thinning?
Yes, it is. It is.
I'm getting it on the different angle here. It's happening right.
You wait.
I had someone be like, "Hey, you got that pepper?"
Almost Leia Bun-esque.
That's true. We should all be wearing our big headphones today. Yes.
I feel fancy. Arzu, number 3 on your list. Should have
number 3 on my list, because I am the book person, is to read Leia-centric books from within the Star Wars canon. So we have Princess of Alderaan, which I've talked about before. We have, what is it called? Bloodline, both by Claudia Gray. Resistance Reborn is so good, it upsets me. That's also a really good Leia story. So those are my 3 Leia-centric Star Wars books that I recommend for today. They're all very popular, I know, but if you haven't read them, you really should.
And I might be wrong here, but I think out of all those, I think Bloodlines might be my favorite. I think it was cool in Princess of Alderaan to learn young Leia, but I thought it was really fascinating to learn about how Leia operated, trying to rebuild the New Republic and have the stress of Vader. And then there's obviously some other baggage that we don't need to get into, but I thought Bloodlines was a great book. And Pete, you've been able to speak with Claudia Gray. Something that I thought was so interesting about your conversation with her on Around the Galaxy was she talks about how your book has to bring something new. There has to be a purpose for someone to read the story.
Yeah.
You've read that. I mean, you've read that book and you've obviously spoken with Claudia Gray. I mean, I don't know. I think we both would fairly agree that she owns Star Wars novel writing right now.
Well, I think she's captured telling a Leia story probably the best of anybody who's done it. Although you do have to say Resistance Reborn does a nice job of capturing that era, the more modern era Leia. But that again, to me, that's the best thing about Bloodline is that it makes you, it's that sort of additional layer of Star Wars where, we all thought Return of the Jedi, Death Star blew up. Ewoks played drums on some stormtrooper heads and things were done. But there was a lot more lot more story to tell. And she does a great job of doing that.
Love that. Arzu, number 2 on the list.
Number 2 on the list, I'm going to give a visual aid, is still on top of the books, is to read books by Carrie Fisher. So I've got my favorites of her nonfiction and her fiction in front of me. So it's Surrender the Pink is the fiction and The Princess Diaries is the nonfiction. So she is, I don't need to tell you guys, a brilliant writer. She's just, I was telling them before the show that her memoirs just flow so quickly. It's like you're having a conversation with her, and then her fiction is just so rich that you kind of want to like savor it as you're going. So it's 2 completely different experiences, but I highly recommend both.
I feel like
the fiction and nonfiction.
Maybe this is an assumption. I feel like there's some probably like tragedy with her story, like leaving her passing out of it. I mean, she had a hard life. She had a lot of challenges in her life, but I would imagine like the humor, does her wit come through her words?
All over the page. It's
awesome.
Just, I'm like, yeah, this is Carrie talking 100%. It's just her dry wit is all over both the memoirs and the fiction.
All right. So here we go. We've got watch the original trilogy, rock some space buns, read some Leia-centric books. You can read Carrie's own books. And for number one on the list, the greatest way we could possibly celebrate our beloved princess. Arzu, what is it?
Okay, I cheated. I actually have 2 more ways. So you didn't play by the rules, neither do I. So, okay. So the next way to honor Princess Leia and Carrie Fisher today is there is a documentary series on YouTube and on Sci-Fi called Looking for Leia. And it is a 7-part docuseries from the perspective of women and non-binary fans within the Star Wars fandom. And it sort of uses Leia as that lens of like what Star Wars means to them, what aspects of fandom are important to them. There's one episode, the 7th episode is called How We Carry On, Carrie spelled like Carrie Fisher. And that's about her impact on the fandom, on the fans, on the story. So if you're going to just watch one episode, watch that one, but I highly recommend the whole documentary.
Very cool. I think that was a damn good list, Pete.
It was great.
I don't hear my number 1 though.
But she has one more.
Oh, Arzu.
I have one more. I have one.
What is the one more?
Most important thing, which does not apply to anybody outside of the US, but here we are, is to vote.
Yes.
Vote.
She would be out there right now just rocking the vote like nobody's business right now.
What would Leia do? What would Carrie do? Vote.
She'd probably give Trump the finger. Let's be honest. I can see her with her like middle, just giving him the bird. I don't want to make assumptions, but I'm pretty sure she was liberal. So I think I'm not hurting anyone's feeling by saying that Leia would vote him out. So we should all vote on November 3rd if you live in the States. That's the best way.
You can vote now in some states, apparently.
I've already voted. Did you
I'm
vote?
Canadian. I'm not 100%.
I'm going on November 3rd.
So you're not nervous about going on the day?
I live in a small town in New Jersey. Our entire population is going to take an hour and a half to get through the line, so I'm not too worried about it.
Okay, there you go. Hey, we want to know, how would you celebrate Carrie Fisher on her birthday? We got a couple hours left to go. Let us know down the live chat comment section, or you can always tweet us at BTBD Star Wars.
Thank you for watching Beyond the Blast Doors. Be sure to subscribe to our channel. Don't forget, give us a thumbs up and leave a comment. Beyond the Blast Doors, a Star Wars conversation.